Hello, and welcome to this first episode of the podcast, Redefine Success Unscripted Stories. And thank you for joining me today. Within this first episode, I just really want to help you understand what the intention is of this podcast, why this podcast, what you will get out of it, and why should you be listening and subscribing and following this podcast? Who is it truly for? And why am I so passionate about this topic? We'll dive a little bit more into my story behind it. And of course, also hear my version and my vision when it comes to success as well. And so let's dive right into it. What is the intention of this podcast? I see so many people struggling in life. My clients have been, I come from the mental health field. And, now I'm focusing on helping entrepreneurs because I see there's so many change makers, so many people that are so willing to create a positive impact in the world. And they get so focused on their things that, there is a very big disbalance between the success in the entrepreneurial world and their level of feeling successful in life. Very often, successful entrepreneurs feel unhappy, feel unfilled. Or you have people that feel like they nailed their personal life, but they can't get the business to where to that successful point because they're focusing too much on their personal life, and there's a disbalance there. And then, of course, because our business is part of us, it's part of who we are. Not being so successful in our business also negatively influences our personal life. And so, with this, I really want to help you redefine what success means and help you find your way of success, help you define how a successful life looks like for you. And then, of course, come up with some practical tools to help you achieve that life. All right. So that after each episode, that you are inspired by someone's story, some of the guest speakers, because they're going to have all sorts of different backgrounds. There's going to be, in the first few episodes to come, there's going to be a banker who is now a business coach and a digital nomad. There is going to be someone who was struggling with drug abuse and thought he was going to die at 22, and now is a best-selling author and a high performance coach. Then there's many people from all over the world. There's two teachers who now run a really, really high level jewelry business or jewelry coaching business, and do that from Bali. They just moved to Bali. So stories with lots of different backgrounds, but always filled with practical tips and tools as well, so that if you are inspired by these stories, that you can really take action right after that episode. And so who is it really for? Like I said, my focus is on entrepreneurs, but of course, this really goes to for the whole public, really, because learning to define what your version of success is, being able to really say, this is the life that I want. It gives you a certain destination, it gives you a certain direction, and it gives you something to focus on, a direction that you can grow in. Because once you have your direction clear, taking the steps into that direction is going to be a lot easier because you have a certain compass in life. You can almost say it have a GPS, right? Because once the direction is clear, you can start taking action steps in that direction. And like I mentioned, these action steps, inspiration for what you can do will also be shared within this podcast. And so we'll be primarily focused on entrepreneurs who don't feel successful in personal or professional life, who don't have that right balance, or just for anyone who is looking to really define success for themselves and create a life to which they truly feel successful. And so, why this topic? So, I've now been an entrepreneur for 3.5 years roughly. And first with working with kind of anyone, as many entrepreneurs know, niching down in the beginning isn't always the easiest thing. So I kind of took everyone in, but quickly started noticing a certain pattern within my clients. And like very often they had an entrepreneurial mindset. They wanted to start a business, or they just started a business, but there were some challenges there. And that kind of naturally evolved into wanting to work with entrepreneurs more. I'll be like, Let's first talk a little bit about why this podcast. Like I mentioned, because with my ex partner, I used to be in a partnership with Jesper Walters. We're still very good now. Uh, um, and we had a podcast of 40 episodes. And I just really loved hosting. I loved interviewing people. I loved having these deeper conversations and really take you guys on a journey for every listener, take you on a journey of, inspiration, and then build those action steps within that inspiration so that you can directly take action. I really loved, I was passionate about it. But of course, we don't just want to start a topic just for starting a topic. And yeah, talking with more entrepreneurs, going to entrepreneurial events. There was a trend that I started noticing, and that was really what I've been talking about before, in the sense of I see really successful business owners, but diving deeper into conversation with them, I noticed they don't truly or necessarily feel happy and fulfilled. They might have used their business as an escape from their mental and emotional challenges. They might have built it to make someone else proud, and then that there is a drive for their business that doesn't come from the purest intention, and that makes it in such a way that their personal life is still kind of struggling. And there is such a big pressure from society of what is success supposed to mean. I'm originally from Belgium, and I think in Belgium, or at least that was the impression that I got, what being successful means is you go to school, you go through university, then you get a high paying job so that you can drive around in a nice car and have a big house with a nice garden, and get a wife, for me, wife or a husband, two kids and a dog, and that's what success looks like. If you can have all of that, you have a successful life. And there's so much pressure on doing this, like thinking differently or trying something different. I went traveling just after my school years. The intention was actually a month before going to university, but that month turned into 2 months, turned into another trip after that, turned in the end into being on the road for almost 5 years. And yeah, of course, in that journey, I learned a lot about myself. I came up with challenges that I never thought I had to face. Also, financial challenges, mental challenges, challenges of really wanting to be part of something and noticing that I'm really adjusting myself, trying to fit in, but not really feeling very well within a group anyway, but still just pushing because I wanted to fit in there or fit in somewhere in general, right? And yeah, alongside that journey, I also lived, for example, in a spiritual community, a very primitive community with hardly any electricity, or actually no electricity whatsoever. Uh, the water we still had to pump up by hand, and the phone reception. There was phone reception that you could get some messages out, but if you actually wanted to make a video call or do something properly, you'd have to walk 1.5 to 2 kilometers to actually go to a place with good phone reception. And although it was very, very, very good to find myself, because it's so back to the basics, to really learn what is important to me, to really block out all the noise, if you want to put it that way, from the outside world, from society, because we were so secluded from society, and it was a very beautiful place to be in, a very beautiful part of my life. But I also noticed some toxic traits there, in the sense of wanting to earn a lot of money is evil, is a bad thing. Um, yeah, and some things that didn't really align with me. But again, at first, I just wanted to fit in, so I was adjusting myself. Yes, there was a lot that I really liked there. Otherwise, I wouldn't be there, because I was already a little bit further on my personal development journey. But I noticed on these parts were some challenges. But then, trying to fit in, I just kind of adapted that mindset as well. But then, after some time, realizing, hey, but actually would like to earn enough money to be financially free, and to create a life where, to create generational wealth, so that my wife, my children, my grandchildren never have to worry about anything. Um and that kind of clashed with their mindset, and it made me think of starting to think of what is a life that I actually really want to live. because it wasn't what society says it was success. And then I kind of went complete the opposite direction of that community there, and I noticed this is also not really what I want. So, you know, getting deeper and deeper into that, I really started to think for myself, yeah, but what is it that I truly want? And yeah, there's just many, many people that I saw struggling with this, or that I see struggling with this on a daily basis, that I have conversations with people, with potential clients, with fellow entrepreneurs, in different entrepreneurial communities that are in. And that's kind of where the idea started, of really wanting to speak about this, really bring these inspiring stories out, because there's so many inspiring people that, there's someone going to come up who was really high up in the corporate world, but then, noticed himself going more to drug abuse, and because he wasn't enjoying his journey. And kind of let go completely of that, because he was making a lot of money, but he felt really unhappy. And he went to, I think, if I remember right, a 2 or 3 month retreat in America, and, completely changed his life around. Uh, but he needed to go through that to find whatever his way of success was. And it's these inspiring stories that I would love to bring to you guys, like I mentioned, for you to be inspired, so that every week when an episode comes out, that you are inspired, because inspiration creates a certain level of motivation. And if then within these episodes there's very specific action steps that you can take, if you guys listen to that on a weekly basis, it's going to make it so much easier for you to take action on a weekly basis as well. Mm. And so that is a big reason for this, because, and like, of course, I've got I'll do more on the side as well. I have a community, the Thrive Tribe. If you want to check it out, there's the description. The link is in the description, where with these kind of entrepreneurs that want to adapt these new mindsets, that want to create their new way of success. I've created this community with that same intention, because there's so many entrepreneurial communities out there, but it's so business focused. It's so focused on the professional part of life. And there's not that many where I see a focus on the personal part of life as well. So the community I started, the Thrive Tribe, it's where personal and professional well-being meets. And so there's workshops around personal well-being, but also around business growth, about sales strategies, about funnels, about experts in their fields that really come in and talk and share things that really help us in both, like I mentioned, personal and professional field. There is a peer-to-peer mastermind to really bring people together in a round table, what is, the very intimate, committed group of entrepreneurs, because there you get that feeling of belonging. There you open up that conversation around our mental and our personal well-being, because there's so many people that are afraid of talking about it because they don't have a safe space to talk about it. And finding that safe space is sometimes the most difficult thing to do, because to find that safe space, you need to find the people that you feel safe enough with to be vulnerable, to open up. And it's always a scary thing. So when there's this space that is created to really open up this conversation, that, I believe, I know that helps me, and the intention of all of this is to help many people with this as well. And again, that's what this podcast is for as well, to really hear the struggles of other entrepreneurs, and not just their past struggles, but also talk about the struggles that people have now, because it's an ongoing journey. It's never really done, right? It's a constant practice towards, practice towards that vision of what success is supposed to mean for you. And it's about letting go of whatever society, or whatever your parents or your friends, or whatever idea that someone else has put on you of what you should achieve, to really be able to let that go and create that idea for yourself, and allow yourself to be vulnerable. Not I like to hear other vulnerable stories, because if there's someone else that is vulnerable, it's a lot easier for you to do that as well. So you can start to become more honest with yourself when it comes to these topics. Mm. And so maybe a little bit more about my story. And so when I still remember to this day, when I was 15 or 16, I remember saying like, I'm gonna start my own business. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And there was so many things I was gonna do, but I knew I didn't want to work for a boss. I knew I wanted to become an entrepreneur. And then, like I mentioned before, I started traveling. I was done with middle school, I think was the general term for it. And then, so in Belgium, when you finish middle school, you're 18. And then I chose to work for a while to then go traveling. For like I said, that month I did European bartending school because I thought it was good, cool experience. I did that in Thailand. That was back in 2016. So that was my first trip by myself, going out there, going out into the world. And there, the travel bug caught me. So I came back. I didn't necessarily want to go to school anymore. My plan was actually to go and study product design at the university in Belgium because I really love creating things. I love being creative with my hands. And there, you literally learn everything: working with metal, working with wood, working with, so it was a really interesting study. But I didn't want to sit behind a desk for another 3 to 5 years, as that has never been something. It's never been my strong suit. And then, of course, I had that travel bug. And then I came back. Didn't have all that much money anymore because I extended my trip as well. And then I found remote jobs. So I've been working in Austria, in Italy, in Sweden, in Australia, in multiple places. Spent quite a bit of time in Asia. But like I said, when you travel, you kind of also meet a certain type of people, and the more you align yourself with that group of people, the easier it is going the quicker you're going to connect with that group of people. Because if you don't really know who you want to connect with, you're just going to try and connect with everyone, and then automatically, subconsciously adjust yourself slightly to fit into that group, right? So I noticed myself constantly shifting not my interests in general. My interests were still very similar, but shifting how I was spending my day, shifting how I was thinking, and if I spent it a long time with people, slightly shifting what I wanted in life. And that's how I also ended up in that primitive community, because I said, no, I don't want to earn a lot of money. I want to do this. I want to make music around the bonfire every night, and I still want to do that, but with my own twist to it. And um, And yeah, I think that part of my story, or how I'm created through those 5 years of traveling, there was still that pressure, that where I felt, because my parents, they like to choose safety over everything. And yeah, I never really did that, right? So they always said to me, yeah, but you have to do this, you have to find a job, you have to find a set job, you need to think about your pension if you want this or if you want that. So then when I started coming up with entrepreneurship, or just something to do in general, there was also a big part of me that was like, I need to prove to my parents that I can do it this way. I need to prove that I can do it in my way. And of course, it's a certain motivation, but it's not going to be the motivation that makes me passionate about my work, and it makes me want to get up in the morning and be like, yes, I'm going to get up and do this now because I love what I do. If I think I'm going to get up now because I want to prove to my parents that I can do it, I think when I say that and you think about it, that there is already kind of an imbalance there, a misalignment. And so the more work I did with myself, I kept on pivoting within my entrepreneurship and what I was doing, what I've been offering. And this podcast is definitely for myself to grow still, as well, for to teach all of, or to speak about all of you guys, to grow, to really create a platform where people can share their inspiring stories, where you can be inspired, and where hopefully every week I am able to take you on a journey, and to, yeah, there's this quote: inspiration without action is mere entertainment. That's, I don't want this podcast to become mere entertainment. So, yes, this is the first episode. But if you think I want to change something in my life, I don't really feel successful in personal and professional life right now, if you believe that there is more out there for you, then this podcast is for you. And then I highly encourage to, after every episode that you're going to listen from now on, if there's action steps, like write them down, or if you're driving in the car, like send a little voice note to yourself of what you can do so you don't forget about it. So that this podcast doesn't become mere entertainment, but inspiration followed up by action. So that then you can start to truly change. All right. And I talked a little bit about the Thrive Tribe before. I know that if you want more support, know that the Thrive Tribe is there, that I am there to connect with you. I love talking to people. I love helping people out. So I know that, my inbox is open for you to reach out to. My socials are in the description as well. So feel free to reach out, follow me, talk to me. Join the Thrive Tribe if that's something of your interest. And yeah, I think that's it. I think that I am so excited to get this going. And I hope that you are just as excited as me about listening to all these stories. So, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this as well. I hope that you understand why I'm doing this, what the intention is of this podcast. And I am sure that I'm not sure, but I hope that I can inspire you. You take action on it, and we will speak or hear each other very, very soon. Okay. Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful day. Ciao, ciao. I hope that you really enjoyed this podcast and that you got a lot out of it. If you got something out of it, feel free to share it with some friends or even on your social media, and make sure to tag this episode. And if you want this podcast to become bigger, then please subscribe, like, or leave a review in the comments below, because this goes a long way in spreading this podcast with the world. And if you want something more, then make sure to check out the Thrive Tribe through the link in the description. It's an entrepreneurial community where personal and professional well-being meets. We have different tiers. We have a free community on a Facebook group where we host bi-weekly workshops relating to these topics, business topics, or your personal well-being. And if you choose to become a Thrive Elite, then you get the opportunity to be part of a monthly peer-to-peer mastermind, a space filled with entrepreneurs focused on helping you overcome your challenges, get direct feedback on your ideas, put you in the hot seat where you spend at least 15 minutes with 4 other entrepreneurs completely focused on you. And on the back end of that, with your group that you were brainstorming with, you will become an accountability group for the whole month. So you have some extra accountability following up with you to make sure that you grow within what you are doing. And I hope to see you there and speak soon. See you in the next episode. Ciao.